All right, why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. We're really excited to have you here this evening. This is the next in our series of elementary curriculum workshops for parents. We have our special series this year, and we're really excited this evening to be presenting all about our physical education program. I'm Jeanette Wojcik, the Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Curriculum Instruction and Assessment here in Syosset, and I'm joined today by some really fabulous educators. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves.
Good evening. My name is Scott Stuber. I'm the Director of Athletics, Physical Education, and Recreation.
Hi everyone, I am Mr. Arnone, PE teacher at Bayless and head coach of girls varsity soccer.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Graham. I'm one of the physical education teachers over at Village. I coach 8th grade girls soccer at Southwoods and varsity girls lacrosse up at the high school.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Mataro at Walt Whitman, and I coach soccer, track, basketball, and lacrosse.
Hi everyone, my name is Miss O'Donnell. I've coached tennis in the past, and I have a main background in dance.
Wonderful. So as you can tell, we have our physical education teachers from all across the district joining us this evening. And while they are from specific schools, our physical education program at the elementary level exists at all 7 elementary schools. So we'll have a really nice opportunity this evening to hear all about the wonderful physical education activities that your children are engaged in. Just as some reminders, this is a webinar format, so your mic is muted, your screen is off. We have your names here so we can see you. And if you wanted to ask a question, there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom call. You're more than welcome to put in any questions, and either one of us as a panelist will answer you, or we'll weave it in as the presentation continues. So we're going to get started. Our first thing that we're going to talk about this evening is really always talking about our physical education program in light of how our goals are in the district and how they align with our mission to always support students and prepare them for a world that we've yet imagined. And our Board of Education has set forth goals that really focus on the students. And our physical education curriculum really takes those goals and brings them to life. Some of the goals that really connect beautifully and are highlighted in our physical education program talk a lot about individualized learning. And so you'll hear this evening in our presentation how our physical education teachers adapt physical education for all learners, creating individualized learning opportunities for all of our students. The goal of part of our PE program is how do we teach students to be part of a team, to collaborate with one another? We're going to hear all about physical literacy and what that means, and understanding how our body moves and how wellness is important, and how we work on making sure that we create an appropriate balance between school life and physical wellness. We really focus on social emotional learning in the physical education classroom. And so with that, our pride of patience, respect, and all of the things, the skills we want to teach students shines through. And of course, it is really important for us to build community, a collaborative community. And you'll hear this evening in our presentation just how our physical education teachers are experts at ensuring that our students not only have fun and learn, but build a collaborative community together.
Good evening once again. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share information regarding our outstanding elementary physical education program. I'm fortunate to work with some very dedicated individuals who are passionate about physical activity, health, wellness, and are committed to providing our students with the best possible experiences. As Dr. Wojcik just said, our objectives first come to individualized learning, which allows students to progress at a pace and style that best supports their personal development. This approach encourages confidence, motivation, ownership of learning, collaborative skills, which are really important in physical education. It provides meaningful opportunities for students to practice teamwork, communication, and shared problem solving. and these experiences prepare them for collaborative settings both in and outside of the classroom. How physical education supports learning is it directly enhances the classroom achievement by boosting focus, memory, and overall brain function. Movement breaks and structured physical activity help regulate energy levels, improve student readiness to learn. And when students are physically active, they're better equipped to do well in school. My staff's going to talk a lot about physical literacy. Again, we want to foster confidence, competence, and motivation in students. We're going to talk about different types of play, students' chance to explore, experiment, and problem solve in meaningful ways. And whether it's guided instruction, whether it's free play, we want to make sure we provide our kids with the best experiences to be successful. And then, foundational skills and advanced skills. I'm going to talk a little bit about K through 2 and 3 through 5. We try to break our elementary grade levels up and what we do at each level. And again, just reinforcing the social emotional learning in PE. It's just a natural environment for building relationships and developing resilience. And again, through cooperative games and the intentional interactions, are the students in Syosset are learning empathy, sportsmanship, and self-management. And again, we're focused on supporting the whole child's growth by strengthening both emotional and social skills. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about, in the next slide, our learning standards. So a few years ago, New York State revised the New York State learning standards, and they're designed to develop physically literate individuals in 6 core standards, focusing on motor skills, movement knowledge, fitness, responsible behavior, and valuing physical activity. And these standards mandate K through 12 participation, again, aiming for lifelong health, confidence, competence, and physical activity. So as I transition to, well, before I go to the next slide, so we look at K through 2, which are the early elementary ages, and the New York State Physical Education Learning Standards provide a critical foundation for young learners in kindergarten through 2nd grade by guiding developmentally appropriate instruction in motor skills, physical activity, and social behaviors. The standards ensure that children build competency in basic movement patterns, which is essential for long-term physical literacy and future skill development. And at this age, students also begin learning personal and social behaviors that promote safety, cooperation, and respect, key components embedded in the state standards. When we talk about grades 3 through 5, the standards really help students transition from foundational movement skills to more advanced sports-specific and fitness-related competencies. The standards highlight importance of applying movement concepts, strategies, and knowledge to improve student performance and deepen an understanding of physical activity. Students at this stage also engage in more intentionally with concepts related to maintaining health, enhancing levels of fitness, reflecting on Standard 3's emphasis on long-term physical activity and wellness, and additionally, standards strengthen students' personal and social responsibility by reinforcing behaviors such as teamwork, respect, and effective communication during physical activity. Again, I have 4 staff members out of my 15 elementary that really do a great job, and I'm at this time, I'm looking to turn over to Bayless's Mr. Tyler Arnault.
Thank you, Mr. Stuber. So this slide shows how we take the New York State standards and turn them into learning experiences in our PE program. At the center of the program is physical literacy. This means helping students develop the skills, confidence, and knowledge they need to be active. To support that, our PE program focuses on a few key areas. First, we focus on the social and emotional skills. During PE, students practice teamwork, communication, and good sportsmanship. PE is a unique place where this kind of happens naturally during games, and we use those moments to teach and reinforce those life skills. We also focus on physical activity for life. Students experience many different types of movement so they can find activities that they ultimately will enjoy. Another part of our program is making connections to the classroom. We include math, literacy, and science concepts. This helps supports classroom learning while keeping students engaged through movement. We're very committed and intentional about making every child feel included and experience success in our classes. In kindergarten through second grade, we focus on those foundational skills, which you'll hear more about. And then in grades 3 through 5, students begin using those skills in a more structured game environment. Overall, we are not just teaching sports or games, we are supporting students physically, emotionally, and socially while meeting the standards in a meaningful way for students. Next slide. So physical literacy and why it matters. It's not about being the best athlete in class. It's about making sure every child feels comfortable and capable of moving their body. And elementary school is a key time to build that foundation. When students feel successful in PE, they build confidence. And then with confidence, they're more willing to participate in new activities and stay active. This helps create healthy habits and a positive attitude toward movement, which is our end goal. Our approach is inclusive and 100% play-based. While many lessons look like games, everything we do is really planned and really intentional. Students are learning skills, improving, and growing in ways that are fun and engaging. By building physical literacy, we're not just teaching PE classes, we're helping our students develop the skills and confidence that are going to ultimately support them for a lifetime of healthy movement. Next slide. So in our program, we have a motto: learning is disguised as play. And we use 3 types of play to support our students. First is the structured play. That's where they're teacher-led instruction and focusing on a specific skill, rule, a specific sport, or movement goal. The next is unstructured play. This gives students time to explore and be creative and make choices. It also supports independence and social skills. What we hope is that the skills they learn in PE helps them during recess and even at the elementary level, we do a unit called Play Like a Champion, which helps students find appropriate games for them to be successful at recess. So we're hoping those skills that they learn inside the gym translate to their unstructured play outside. The third type of play we use is outdoor and indoor play. We try to get the students outside as much as possible. And then those times that they are playing indoors, it is a situation where it challenges their creativity and problem solving in smaller spaces. What makes PE unique is it operates in all 3 learning domains. The psychomotor focuses on movement skills like coordination, balance, and control. The cognitive area focuses on thinking skills such as rules, game strategies, decision making. And then the social and emotional area focuses on skills like teamwork, effort, confidence, and sportsmanship. So while activities may look like games, everything we do is planned. Students are learning how to move, how to think, how to work with each other all at the same time, which makes us unique in that way. By us using play as a learning tool, we keep students engaged, included, and building skills that support our end goal, which is a lifelong a passion for physical activity. Next slide. So just to give you an overall picture of what that might look like inside our gym. One example is skill stations. Students rotate through different stations. Each might focus on a specific physical skill. Another example is small-sided games. These games give students more movement, more chances to practice skills, and more opportunities to make decisions. Students stay active instead of waiting online. So we facilitate those opportunities through small-sided games. We also use creative challenges. Students may solve movement challenges that include math or literacy, which is something we're going to talk about later. This keeps learning fun and connected to the classroom. Students' choice is built into our lessons. When students choose equipment, their challenge level, roles, they feel more confident and invested in their learning. So when learning feels fun and supportive, students are more willing to try, stay engaged, and that's the whole concept behind our learning disguised as play. And let's take a look at what that may look like. So I just wanted to share, these are a couple pictures of what it looks like. I'm looking at the picture where students may be playing soccer. They're working together as a team with the pool noodles to take a marble and work together to work it to a different side of the gym. Students are working together to step through the hula hoop. So these are all environments that are facilitated by us. Even though the students might just feel like they're playing games, we're actually challenging different areas of what we want out of that particular lesson. Next. So this slide focuses on parents, how parents can support physical activity for a life at home. One of the easiest ways is to schedule regular movement times. This can be as simple as going for a walk. My one recommendation when thinking about how parents can support at home is it does not have to be complicated to be meaningful. A simple walk after lunch or dinner or on the weekend. Another key piece is allowing children to choose activities they enjoy simply by asking them what they want to play that day and just getting outside and playing. Modeling an active lifestyle also matters. When children see adults being active, they're more likely to be active themselves. So it shows that movement is a normal part of daily life. And then finally, we encourage all families to celebrate effort and consistency rather than performance, which is something, as someone that's involved in youth sports, where competition and winning is the focus. We encourage effort, and celebrate effort because we understand that when you celebrate effort, it creates a positive experience for the child and ties that to their healthy habits. That ultimately what we want is that for that to last a lifetime. And then what we teach in grades kindergarten through second grade, Mr. Stuber kind of touched upon this. The goal for us is to develop a strong foundation of foundational skills, practicing skills like running, hopping, and different movement patterns. These help children gain control of their bodies and build coordination. We also work on object control skills such as throwing, catching, kicking, and dribbling. These skills support success in game sports, and help develop hand-eye and foot-eye coordination, which they're going to need as they progress through elementary school. Another important focus for kindergarten through second grade is spatial awareness and body awareness. Students learn how to move safely, understand personal space, and are aware of others during activities and games. And then finally, students learn teamwork through cooperative games, practicing sharing, taking turns, following rules, and supporting classmates. By building these foundational skill sets early, we're setting up students for success in PE, sports, and activities that they're going to engage in as they move through their educational career. And then what we teach in grades 3 through 5, it builds upon the skills that we go over in kindergarten through second grade. At this stage, we're focusing on helping kids develop more advanced movement, coordination, and teamwork. Students keep refining those basic movements, but now with more accuracy and control. They also start playing small-sided games and team sports. These games give students more chances to make decisions, collaborate with teammates, and use the skills that they've been practicing in real game situations. We continue practicing important game skills like dribbling, passing, aiming at targets, and teamwork remains a big focus within all of our classes. By the end of grade 5, we want students to be more confident and capable movers who enjoy being physically active, working with others, and participating in a number of different physical activities. And then how parents can support this at home for building foundational skills and for developing more advanced skills. For foundational skills, typically in early grades, you can help by practicing basic movements with your child. Things like running, jumping, throwing, catching, and bouncing are really important building blocks. Encouraging outdoor play whenever possible is also a big help. Even simple games in the yard, at the park, or walk around the neighborhood give kids a chance to move, explore, and practice these skills. For more advanced skills, usually in grades 3 to 5, you can encourage your child to practice sports or activities they enjoy. I would recommend you let them pick something that excites them. It could be soccer or basketball. We have a great swim program at the high school, or any other activity. You can also challenge them with basic skill games. I think we would all be surprised if you just challenge your child at home, how excited they get. Anything that embraces playing, getting outside, and moving. And supporting kids at home like this helps reinforce what they're learning in PE and sets them up for a lifetime of being active and confident movers. I'm going to pass it on to Miss O'Donnell.
Hello, thank you. So just like we were saying before, social emotional learning is a huge aspect in phys ed. Phys ed is not just about the skills that we're teaching them. We actually go through and teach all of these 5 different aspects, and they're in all of our gyms every single day. So we have self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. So self-awareness, right? That's recognizing the student's own emotion and how they're able to allow their feelings to influence their outcomes in that activity. We also have self-management, so regulating their emotions and able to work well with the students that are around them. Social awareness, they're building empathy, they're building inclusion, all things that are super important when you're dealing with not only the class, but the entire school culture. It creates a supportive environment for all students and kind of allows for students to be and work on being a great teammate. We also have relationship skills, so allowing cooperative games that we do every day in the gym. So what that looks like would be conflict resolution strategies. We encourage our kids to do rock, paper, scissors if they're having a disagreement on taking turns. All of those different aspects are really seen in our gym every single day. We have responsible decision making. So what that looks like is a safe and positive learning environment. So they're taking into account supporting their peers. What that looks like would be making positive choices that help their team and that help those around them. So in conclusion, positive and social and emotional skills are implemented every single day. So we're not only teaching to all of the skills that we have previously said, but all of this is something that we teach on an everyday basis inside our gym. Thank you. So how can parents support this at home? So social emotional learning can be taught at home during our cooperative style games. So that can be seen in many ways. So that could be family walks, bike rides, backyard games. It can even be playing with siblings, having a play date, really emphasizing teamwork and over winning. Teamwork and cooperation really help to foster that social emotional skills that they're going to use not only in elementary school, but also in the future when they go to middle school and high school and in the future. So you're encouraging positive self-talk, like you're improving, you keep trying. If they're working on something that's difficult, what are some ways that you can support them in trying their best? Practice taking turns, sharing equipment, and going through all of those things that provide a positive and all of those positive affirmations to help your students succeed at what they're trying to accomplish. So also asking your students how it made them feel. Let's say they tried a dance class or they went to a soccer practice. How did it make you feel? What did you like? Going through all of those different things can help the students process and understand how their body made them feel and how that they can better succeed in the future. We also have breathing exercises on GoNoodle, which are a great resource if you'd like to use them. The link is there. They can go on there. You can use some of these resources to kind of implement in your daily life, whether a student needs a second during homework. All right, let's do a breathing exercise, and many different ways. All of these situations kind of foster that social emotional learning that we are providing for your students in our gyms. And Ms. Matero.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to talk about physical education and how it supports learning. A lot of times when we think about physical education, people think about sports, but it's so much more beyond just the gym. So I'm going to just briefly talk about all the different types of ways that we incorporate cross-cutting in our gymnasium and use learning disguised as play. Some of the things that we use is reading and language, math, science, social skills, creative expression, and health and wellness. So some of the things that we use for reading and learning will incorporate letters in our activities, where it's almost used as a reward system where students complete a task, they earn themselves a letter, and they can go create their own word. Or if you see in the pictures that we have on here, the students were able to use the word serve for volleyball and dribble for an activity like basketball, where they're able to connect the words to the topic that they're actually working on today. And then they understand now what the word looks like, how it's spelled, and what it truly means. We also incorporate math pretty much on the day-to-day basis, whether it's as simple as counting your steps, measuring your time or your distance, and or as simple as keeping score. A fun way that we incorporate math is by using money. So we also included a picture here where we had a bank and the students had an opportunity to be bankers and deal with what it looks like, almost real money. And each was a reward system for a different task, and they was all color coordinated for them to understand. If I complete the blue task, I go and earn myself $5 from the blue bowl from the banker. So the banker will distribute the money and they bring it back to their wallet, where students are able to then count their money all together as a team or individually and see what it looks like and feels like to handle real money. Another one we use is science, and science just overall incorporates how our bodies move, grow, and get stronger by just understanding motion, whether it's our bodies or just movement of a ball. And social skills is a great one that we see pretty consistently in the gym, where we're working on teamwork, cooperation, communication, the fairness of just what it means to win or lose, and just overall involve problem solving in PE. A next one we have is the creative expression, where students are able to create rhythm and have some independency, where they're able to be creative based on the movement of sound, using music, and feel what that looks like when we are in the gymnasium and also connected to your classroom. And lastly, we have a health and wellness, which is another thing that people would think about when you think of being physically active, because this allows you to build healthy habits and overall confidence and self-awareness about what your body looks like, what it feels like when you're physically active. And a fun way that we incorporated health and wellness in the gym is by creating different nutrition cards that have different types of food on it. And we connected it to a My Plate activity where students understood the different topics of My Plate and they were able to make a match of their food and bring it over to a specific food group. Overall, this is really important for students to remain active and understand what it looks like to be physically active and just be happier, healthier within your bodies. And also it helps you prepare better when you're learning. And next slide. So there's so many ways that you can connect and support physical activity at home when you're using physical education across the curriculum and just cross-cutting with different subjects. A big one and easy one is just going for walks and counting your steps with your family and making sure that they understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, whether it's timing them or measuring how far they're going. And a great one to use, especially in this environment of just busy days, a lot of homework, stressful moments, is to use a movement break where students can take a pause from their homework and just do a quick movement, whether it's doing a dance and spending quality time with your family, or doing a quick jumping jack and then going back to be able to regulate your body, refocus, reset, and be able to manage any frustration that you might be getting while doing that work. Even as simple as including vocabulary. If we act out different movements, such as jumping, twisting, you can ask your child, what am I doing? And now break it down. How do I spell that? What does it look like? And then you can see if they can connect the word to what they just learned of what it looks like. And another one is as simple as science. If you allow your child to move their body and then you just ask them the simple question of, what do you feel after you do that? What do you notice about your heart rate? Does your heart move faster or is it moving slower? And then understand like what it looks like to be sweating. Why are you sweating? And how can I connect this to being physically active at home? So overall, just movements together can create different ways to have quality time together. And it doesn't have to incorporate any specific equipment, or it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. And it definitely does not take an expert. It's just a moment for you to spend time together and be physically active. Now, one thing that I can challenge you to do tonight after homework and everything is all done is to go for a walk and take a small family movement break, and then just ask each other what you notice and what has changed within your body, and understand that by encouraging the movement at home, you're not taking away time from learning, you're actually helping encouraging it. Next slide. I'm going to pass it over to Jen.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us tonight. Next, we're going to talk about some of the ways that we need to meet the needs of all learners while in the gym, specifically some strategies that are used to help students feel that sense of belonging while they are in our space. So first, we have our choice-based stations. These allow students to pick activities that match their interests and abilities, fostering engagement and motivation while they're moving at their own pace. It's about giving students the power to choose, which can lead to a more personalized and more meaningful physical activity experience. Next, we have tiered challenges. These are designed to meet students at their level, providing appropriate levels of difficulty. This approach ensures that every student is challenged just right, not too easy, not too hard. Students are able to self-assess and find opportunities that meet their individual needs. This helps keep them motivated while also improving their skills. Visual cues are another powerful tool. They help all learners, especially those who benefit from visual learning styles, to understand and follow instructions more effectively. And finally, we have modeling good practice, which is crucial. When we demonstrate activities and skills, we set clear expectations and provide a standard to strive for. We have teacher demonstrations, and we also use students to demonstrate as well. Students, especially at the elementary level, love to help in any way they can. So we try to maximize this as often as possible to help give them that sense of accomplishment. These strategies collectively ensure that every student has the opportunity to succeed and thrive in their physical education journey. There truly is an important place for every student in our PE classes. Another part of our program is our adaptive physical education program, which is specifically designed program for students as outlined on their IEP. It is a continuum of our PE program that meets all students' individual needs. Adaptive physical education, the focus is on ensuring accessibility, maximum participation, and individualized support in a positive and inclusive environment. There are different instructional strategies that we use to do this. Some of them include differentiated instruction, task analysis, multisensory instruction, as well as direct instruction. Next slide. And these are also ways that you can support all learners at home. There's many different ways that we support learners in the gym, and there's many different ways that you could support them at home as well. The first one we have here is adapt games to match your child's ability. We adapt games all the time in PE. We want to make sure that we're meeting all the needs of our students, whether it be by changing the size of the goals we're using, changing the equipment we're using. For example, in kindergarten and first grade, we would use a balloon, and then as students progress, we'd add a beach ball, and then eventually get to that volleyball. There is no one size fits all in learning, and the same applies to physical education and physical activities. So we're trying to develop activities that allow students to find success in many different ways, even if they don't all look the same getting there. The idea is that each of them are able to get to that end result. It's really important that we're focusing on individual progress rather than comparing ourselves to others. Each of our students are unique, and we really need to focus on their individual strengths and find those areas that they could benefit from more practice in. So really focusing on your individual child rather than looking around. I know it's not always easy, but it is really important. Encouraging participation in a variety of activities, not just competitive sports. Not every student's going to enjoy every sport they try. So what we encourage you to do is try and expose your children to activities that interest them or that they gravitate towards, because the more they enjoy the activity, the more likely they will be to stick with it. One of the pieces of advice I could give, instead of signing them up for leagues of sports you're not sure that they're interested in, maybe try a clinic. It's a good way to introduce them to new sports and new physical activities rather than making such a big commitment to a full season. And then finally, we know we've talked about it a couple of times now. We want to support our children with encouragement and patience as they develop skills. So we really do this in everything they do, but it's really important as well in physical activity. We want to praise trying, improving, and participation over winning. Again, especially at the elementary level, the idea of competition is great, but there really is a time and place for winning and losing. We don't really emphasize that in physical education. We're looking for more of participation and growth rather than that winning and losing. By doing this, we help all kids develop that positive attitude towards physical activity and lifelong fitness.
Well, I get to talk a little bit about some of the community resources that we like to share. So most of the links or names that you see up on the screen have a relationship with the Syosset community. Many of them have permits to use our school facilities. So, Syosset Soccer Club, the Basketball League, SBL, St. Edward's runs the CYO. Volleyball has been growing a lot. There's a tremendous interest in that. We have the elite youth athletics. The Little League isn't existent. Silax, which does both boys and girls lacrosse. I always tell everybody, Town of Oyster Bay hockey is a great resource. Plus, you also have local access to the ice skating rinks for people who just want to ice skate, maybe not want to do hockey. We offer a learn to swim program here, as well as a competitive youth swim team. So again, we try to tier it to find what kids are interested in. Some kids like the competition, some kids don't. And we don't want to, chase kids away from an activity they may learn to love. I was really good at that as a parent. Being a frustrated athlete, I made sure my boys were doing things that I learned and liked to do. It was not always a good decision. There was sometimes maybe I put too much pressure on them when they were younger. So I definitely learned as I got older, let them try to pick something they like. I actually remember watching, if you ever saw the X Games, or even I grew up watching the Olympics, which are coming up. It's always good. If you want to get your kid into luge, there'll be somewhere locally you can bring him to get him on a luge. And one of my friend's kid did that when he was in Little League with me, and now he's on the last team. He's on the cusp of making the Olympic team. He didn't make it this year, but there's going to be a lot of things that kids find interesting. But going back to the X Games, there was an interview of a skateboarder, and they asked him why he went skateboarding. He goes, because my father wasn't telling me what to do. And I guess I was that father telling my kid how to field a ball and how to throw a ball. And sometimes it's good to let them, and I know it's kind of repeating what we said, let them find something they like to do. The League of Yes is a great resource for students who may have various abilities. It's something I volunteer for. It's hosted over at Eisenhower Park. They do a great job in the spring and the fall. They have, they have organized games and they have buddy programs. Nassau County PLL has a program for special needs. The Special Olympics has continued to grow around Long Island, and obviously with the growth of unified sports at the high schools, they become more and more involved locally with the schools. I think it's also important to, if you have a child that tends to like dance, to explore the various dance studios in the area, whether it's gymnastics or tumbling. Um, there's so many things out there, and there are local. I only learned the other day there's Girls on a Run, which is a local group for encourages students to run. So there are things that I didn't like to do as a kid and even as an adult that I maybe didn't foster that in my children when they showed an interest. And I think it's important that if you try to look it up, and I guess having the internet, it's a great opportunity. But again, we have these resources online here. They were on a Board of Ed presentation. Again, I think it's good to support local things in the community. And, as long as you know what's available. And then the other thing I always say is, if you have any questions about resources, especially at the elementary age, feel free to give my office a call, because I'm continually trying to make contacts with other people in the community. One of the things that is almost impossible to do, but it's a real big interest, the growth of youth golf and pickleball. With the onset, with everyone in, the last couple of years really becoming interested in pickleball, they started building facilities, but it's hard to get in there. So, my office does get calls occasionally, and I'm more than happy to help whenever I can. But again, the other thing is, when you have the opportunity to meet your physical education teacher on a back to school night, have that conversation with them, because a lot of times we're learning from the kids. They share with us some of the new things that they're doing, and it's great that if we can share that with everybody else. And at this time, I'll say next slide. Turn it over to you, Dr. Botrick.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Suber. So I'm hoping that you got a really great opportunity this evening to see exactly how your children are engaging in physical education throughout their time here in their elementary school in Syosset. Our students engage in physical education 2 times in a 6-day cycle for 55 minutes at a time. So they're getting a really good opportunity each cycle to run and play and build these skills that you just heard this evening. So I think it's really, from looking at what our most important pieces about this is really just thinking about that physical literacy. What are our students developing as far as foundational skills, but then also how we might build more advanced skills within them as they move through the grade levels from K to 5. I think, we heard and saw some really great examples this evening that students really learn through play. They think they're playing and don't even realize they're building all of these physically literate skills that they need to learn about their body and movement and social emotional learning. I think that learning through play allows them to navigate challenges and cooperative activities, and really fosters that social emotional growth that we want our students to learn, developing self-awareness and social awareness, how they engage in teamwork and empathy, and how they make decisions. I think that it's really special that Syosset takes really, really importance in bringing other content areas in to the gym during physical education. So looking at academics across subjects and bringing that in, you saw with spelling and vocabulary and math concepts and how those are interwoven into the physical education classroom. And I really think overall, when we are developing physical literacy in our students, we are looking at those healthy habits. We're looking at positive attitudes. We're looking at being active and benefiting their mind and their body together to ensure that we're creating physical wellness for our students that are lifelong as they move through their life. So, I'm sure you saw this evening this presentation. If you had any questions, we know that you certainly could reach out to your own elementary school's physical education teacher. You can reach out to your principal if you had any questions. As Mr. Stuber said, he's always available if there's any community connections you'd like to learn more about. We are here as resources. In our presentation, there's some really easy ways that you can incorporate some physical activity at home. We're also here for any questions you might have regarding your own child, that you could reach out to your physical education teacher about promoting physical wellness at home. This presentation is recorded and it will be posted on our curriculum website so that you can access the links that are in the presentation, as well as see the recording and pass along to anybody else who might want to look through it. At this time, I just want to say thank you to our panelists this evening, our physical educators who took the time to really share the wonderful craft that they do in teaching children how to take care of their minds and their bodies. So thank you to you and to our whole physical education staff for promoting wellness within our students. At this point, there are no questions, so we will end our workshop for this evening. And we really thank you for joining us and wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you.